Welcome to the podcast, Entrepreneur Perspectives, building and protecting your business one podcast at a time, a CatSource family production. In this episode, we discuss promotional advertising, caregiving, and being an immigrant. Our guest today is Nikki Craig. Nikki is the owner of LAMP, which stands for Leave a Mark Promotions, which is a brand partner of Geiger. Geiger is the industry's largest promotional advertising agency. LAMP helps you find a cost-effective way to market and promote your business with custom promotional items that speak to your customers and clients. With the number of companies they work with, the possibilities are only limited by your imagination, and Nikki supports you every step of the way. Nikki currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and has 6 kids, and as you will find out, is a huge Auburn Tiger fan. Nikki is known for leaving a mark wherever she goes, so let's not wait any longer. Let's bring in Nikki Craig. Nikki, welcome to the Entrepreneur Perspectives podcast. It is great to have you today.
Thank you for having me, Eric.
Absolutely. So what is your favorite thing about helping other businesses?
Well, I'm a very passionate person, and I love to see others succeed. So my ultimate goal is to make a positive difference in the lives of others. So if I can see their business grow, then I've succeeded.
I love the simplicity in your answer. So now I want to go back a little bit. When did you know you wanted to run your own business?
Well, when I stepped away from corporate America, it wasn't in my 5-year plan, but life would have it that I had loved ones get ill. So I was called away to be a full-time caregiver. Step back a minute. Mom and I had talked about doing our own family-owned business years prior to illness. And then cancer stepped in. So put that on hold. And I was doing caregiving from my home full-time. It was mom first, then came grandma, then came dad. And when that was all said and done and my caregiving role was over, I was like, what now? And so again, those creative juices stepped in and I said, I know the promotional marketing industry. I know manufacturing. I know enough to be dangerous. I think I'm going to step into this arena. So that's how I became a promotional marketing agency.
Well, it's a fascinating story because we talk a lot about disruption in business, and disruption happens in many ways, right? It could be government regulations, it could be competition, it could be just your own undoing, or it could be like you just said. I mean, you had disruption in your personal life, which ultimately impacted your business, where you had family members get ill and you had to take care of them. And it's interesting that we also met as a result of kind of that in a story in and of that, where Evan Cutler, who's the founder of Push-Ups for Parkinson's, had introduced us. And Evan is, has this cause for Parkinson's disease. His father had Parkinson's, his grandfather, and is creating this amazing cause. And you had helped him out, and we had seen your promotional items. It's sitting on my desk right now as I talk to you. So I definitely was like, well, I have to talk to Nikki. And Evan has this thing about, caregivers have this, there needs to be awareness around caregivers too, right? The ill for sure, and the caregivers, because I'm assuming you had to go through so much in your life and you had to put so much out there for your family that it's unheard of. It's how do you even handle something like that and then find yourself after all that to get back into the game? What was that like for you?
Well, there is no wrong or right answer. In that particular moment, my answer was to serve my family. They took care of me when I couldn't. And so it was a no-brainer. I just, I became their everything. I became their advocate. I became their voice. I became, their nourishment. And again, the ultimate thing was love and giving them a safe place. So in all of those things, we have to do that in business. We have to cultivate business. So it was just natural to me. We come from Cuba. So in Cuba, there's no nursing homes. So my home was the nursing home to my loved ones. They were born in their homes, a lot of them, and some of them, died in their home. And so, It was just a natural fit for me. Yes, you have to take care of yourself as a caregiver because it's daunting hours. As a night owl, it worked for me. But then again, emotionally, you have to constantly step away, take a little respite, and gather yourself to be there for them.
And what you're saying too is, or what you're showing in the way you're talking, is how much you care, and it's very genuine and it's obvious. And that's why when we first chat, I was like, I would love to have you on the podcast because you have this caring way about you. You already said it before. You care about other businesses. You want to see them do well. You care about your family. So when we talk to entrepreneurs, there's always this common theme that we see, that it's just prevalent in anything that they're doing, whether it's helping their family or helping a business owner. So it's an amazing thing to see, and we appreciate, entrepreneurs like yourself. As you are helping other businesses, how do you help businesses become known?
Well, we help them bring awareness to their brand in their community, in their industries, with potential prospects, their services. So we take a medium, in this case, promotional products, and we put it behind their campaign to relay their message and bring business and ultimately, gain growth.
Is it difficult today with the rise of social media? And you talked about their campaign, so perhaps social media is a part of it. But is it difficult to convince people when they're being told, go into social media, use Instagram, use Facebook, to say, well, now we're going to use it a little bit different. We're going to give items out. It's not old school, but to some people it might seem like that because they're like, well, no, I want to focus on Facebook and Instagram. Do you deal with those arguments against using promotional items?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? There is stats out there that will tell you all day long how it's used in the industry, and we won't get into that. But you know what? Everyone loves to receive a gift. Whether it's a coffee cup, a pen, a branded shirt. It's a tangible item that they're holding. And this industry is driven by the five senses. So, you're constantly giving something. And if you leave a lasting impression, your brand is working for you. And so it is economical, it is relatable, and it's innovative. And it's a growing industry. It's a $23.3 billion industry.
Wow. And I'm sitting here holding one of your promotional items, not on purpose because I'm talking to you. I just happen to be holding the push-ups for Parkinson's. What do you call it? Squishy, right? The heart. And it's
Yes.
just, it sits on my desk. And as you know, we are in the marketing world in many different ways. And I believe that the old school tactics of just shaking someone's hand, meeting with them, networking with them, talking to them, learning about them, as well as more of the new school, methods of social media, for example, along with the promotional items, it all can work. So if you put it all together, they can then work off of each other. And I think that's kind of as well what you're saying is it's not a either or, it could be an and, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the importance of branding, I want to get into a little bit. Why? It's kind of a general question in a way, but because you can leave that lasting impression, why is that so important? Where do you see that impact come about when they do when they have their social media, when they have a good company, when they have a good story behind it, and they have great promotional items with it? Why is branding so important in your eyes?
Well, it's the message. It's the impression that you want to leave behind. So it's not just a pretty logo, although, you do have those out there that are recognized by that brand or that word. But it's something that's tangible that keeps you memorable. So, branding yourself is, whether it's a person or a business, it's who you are. It's letting others know what differentiates you from the others in the industry.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it's So on the flip side of it, you have to differentiate yourself from other people in the industry. When we do a search for promotional items, or we want a t-shirt, or we want to give out pens, or whatever it is what we're looking to do, we have stickers for the computers that a lot of people like. We can go online and find just thousands of websites and different opportunities and discounts and all this stuff. So the promotional advertising industry, we see it as very crowded. And it seems also to be a race to the bottom, meaning in the cost-wise, where there's 40% discounts on this website. But I've come to realize is I don't know who I'm dealing with in many of those areas. I don't have a relationship with that person. So how do you deal with the crowded market that also, I see it, and I might be wrong, has this race to the bottom as from a cost standpoint?
Well, the B2B, market is growing. I mean, it was a $5.3 billion market last year. So you can go on the .coms all day long and find what you want within a few keystrokes at the right price. The difference that I add, I do have an e-commerce site, but I am the face to the voice. I am there to see you through your transaction. I am there if you have questions. I am there to remedy anything. I'm there as a soundboard for feedback, for ideas. So there's your value added. You don't get that on the online, and indeed, it is a crowded industry. They are popping up daily. But then again, those companies don't have the uniqueness that I bring to the table. So that's a value add right there. I have experience, I have creativity, and so that's what sets me apart from your online .coms.
Well, and we want someone to talk to, right? I mean, anybody wants that. When we call an 800 number and we're on hold for 20 minutes and we just get some random person in another country, that really doesn't help us out a lot. Usually, probably more leads to more frustration. But now I can talk to you. And so now at least I have that person. But you talk about being unique. Why are you unique? Like, what is something about you that probably the audience wouldn't know that makes you unique?
Well, one of the biggest things in that I'm an immigrant to this country, so I didn't come here with anything, and I don't have that you owe me anything mentality. I literally go out there and I work for it. I show you what I can do and what works. And then again, is it for everyone? No, you're going to have opportunities that are missed, but you want to bring everything you have to the table and ultimately find a solution for everybody that it's a win-win. So, the uniqueness about me is we're all unique individuals, but I'm a creative and passionate person, and I love to put that behind any efforts that I, put myself against.
So give us some examples. Like, what is, if you were to, your creative side of things? So it sounds like you're just always, your mind's always going, and you just want to create something all the time. Does that come out in artwork? Is it your actual, the business that you're doing, the branding? Where is that most prevalent for you?
Well, I have a servant heart. I love to serve any way I can. So that creativity comes in many ways, whether it's in my community or it's in my every day-to-day business. I'm constantly looking at ways to, leave the message. As you've seen on social media, I am an affiliate of Geiger, and LAMP means Leave a Mark Promotions. So I love to leave a mark wherever I go. So that's where my passion drives. I've constantly always said, leave others or the place, that I have just left better than it was before I got there.
I absolutely love that. And it's so funny you say that, because we meet these businesses, and one of the things I tell everybody is we found the business here. We want to make it better for them to have any association with us, whether they're clients of ours or not, right? We just want to help other business owners and other businesses become better. And you're saying that same thing. And the mentality you bring as an immigrant, I think, is fascinating. My great grandmother came to this country and escaped from Russia and comes to the United States, and they had nothing, right? And then my grandfather had not a lot, and he had to make his way. And so I just think about like what would they be doing if they were here today in this environment with this opportunity that exists for all of us? Like how grateful we should all be. And sometimes it sounds cliche and you're just kind of saying something, but like that's the kind of thing that can keep someone going if you really think about it. And I think you even have that to yourself even more so because you are an immigrant and no one owes you anything, and you realize that, and so you're just going to go out and make it happen and help other people along the way. And as we talked about at the beginning, you're going to help yourself as a result, but it's much bigger than that. It's truly just caring about other people. So you have this creativity, you have this nonstop mind, right? You're always thinking about something and you're always helping someone else. You're good at a lot of different things, but it seems to me that you're very focused in on what it is that you're best at. In your mind, how does focusing on what you do best help you succeed?
I have to take time for myself so that I can be available to other people. So I'm constantly trying to get balanced so that I can keep that passion and that creativity going. So I'm very solid in my faith, and that is one of the reasons why I ultimately succeed, because I glorify, my Savior in the things that I do.
So when you're doing this and you're kind of getting to the point of you have this strong belief system, right, in what you're doing, and you realize that's going to work out, right? If you continue to do the right things are going to work out. But while you do that, it may come down to, I could come to you, and I'm not sure if you do this, so tell me if you do, but like, let's say I'm starting a business and I need promotional items, but I also need a logo design. I have this thought that you probably could do that. Now, do you take on that business, or are you willing to kind of like bring in strategic relationships, give them the business to allow you to focus on what you do best, which then kind of leads you into giving up opportunities, giving up revenue?
Absolutely. And, I'm a can-do type person. So, yes, I can do creatives. I can create, everything from the logo to the flyers, et cetera, the promotional collateral. But that is how you've got to learn to separate yourself sometimes from that, because of the fact that I am so passionate at creating, you can often spend a lot of time on a project doing all of those added values and lose opportunities. So you have to scale it back and really focus sometimes on where you should be putting your time. So in my case, I have that's one of my weak points. I have a hard time saying no, and so I there can be opportunities that aren't a fit because it's time sensitive.
Right. Yeah. There's only so much time. I was just going to say that. So you're working with a lot of other business owners, and you're trying to get them to work with you in a good way. But a lot of them are like, well, I can handle that. I can figure this out. I can make my own call. I don't need you. Right. And so you're having to talk to those people about that. But it works both ways, right? Because you're saying, oh, I can't do this, so come to me. And because you don't want to spend your time, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, doing these other things, let me play the lead on this for you on the promotional advertising. Is that right? Are you having a lot of these conversations where business owners think they can kind of figure this thing out and don't need someone like you?
Right. Well, we all have pain points, in our businesses every day. So I come to them with solutions to take some of those things off the table for them, free them up to do the things that they love to do most or they're the best at. So if I can offer a solution to them to alleviate some of that and be their creative outlet and an extension of their marketing department, then that's where I step in.
That's great. So because we talk about that a lot, and there's a lot of, that's why it's a good conversation to have, is the strategic relationships that you can have, and it doesn't have to be internal at your company. You can form the strategic relationship externally and have someone like you, Nikki, to help us out with this aspect of our marketing. You don't have to be our CMO, for example, or you don't have to run our marketing department, but you could be the extension of our marketing department because you have skills and attributes in this other way. And that's for any business. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. There's people out there that can help. And I think, we talked to a lot of small business owners. If you try to take on everything by yourself, it's just, you run out of time. And, it's hard to do that. So you have a caring way about you. Your business has done very well. We've seen your promotional items. How are you right now getting new business?
Well, social media is key. You got to stay relevant. You got to stay fresh. You got to, put it out there and let them know that you're available. Referrals. 90% of my business comes from referrals because of that stress reliever you have in your hand or on your desk there. That's a tangible, lasting impression or referral. I did work with Evan in Push-Ups for Parkinson's and wanting to see him succeed in his mission. Those tangible moments are lasting impressions, and so and networking is key. I'm a relationship person. I've been told I've never met a stranger, and to be honest, I think that's quite a compliment.
Yeah, I would say so, especially if most of your business is coming from referrals, and social media can kind of take your referral game to the next level because it's very easy for someone to get on Instagram or wherever they would get on and make a mention of you. So that helps out, and it gets it in front of people that they might not even otherwise know. So you get connected to even new people. But yeah, if a lot of the business is coming from referrals, obviously you're doing something right. And I think that's very important. And you're also working inside of a brand or working with a brand, and you mentioned Geiger before. I would imagine it's pretty important to have something that you believe in. But why is that so important? To work with Geiger, for example, and to just be so in love with what it is that company is doing?
Well, Geiger is a brand. It's solid. It's been around since 1878, and that right there just speaks longevity. But it's 5 generations of family. Family, as you know, is critical to me. Coming and partnering with Geiger was a homecoming. It was just, I'm an extension of their family. They're my back office. They're my soundboard. They're my teammates. They're my colleagues. They're my creative outlets. So it was just a fit. It was natural. And I'm honored to be an affiliate of theirs.
So that's interesting that you would feel that way about it because, like I said before, it's obvious whatever it is that you're selling or a part of, you have to be in it. But when you have that true feeling that you're talking about for Geiger, it does come across that's just something that you believe in. So if I'm talking to you and I like you and I trust you, then why wouldn't I believe in it, right? As a business owner. So that also must help you, once you've gotten the referral, now you still have to talk to that person because now they have to like you. And once you have that conversation, I think good things can come from it. And obviously that's what you are doing. But really you are working for yourself, right? You have the Geiger brand, but ultimately you are the entrepreneur kind of supporting that brand and supporting your own brand. What is that like for you? I mean, I'm assuming that's exactly what you wanted, where you can get out there and you now work for yourself.
Absolutely. I am my own self-promo. I am pounding the pavement. I am going and shaking the hands, and I am soliciting the business, whether it be over the phone, pounding the pavement. So I am Leave a Mark Promotions, an affiliate of Geiger. So I am going out there and putting that face to the voice. I'm answering and channeling all of the questions that come via online or via telephone. So I'm that brand partner.
And I think that's important. Just someone like myself and a lot of the other business owners, entrepreneurs that I chat with, it makes a difference when I have a conversation with you and you understand what it's like to do your books, to write a check out of your bank account, to know the ups and downs of running a business. And you can put yourself in my shoes and vice versa. And I think there's a camaraderie in that. And I think it's much easier for a decision maker or a business owner to then want to work with you as opposed to talking to some 800 number representative, with all due respect to them, that you can have an understanding of what I'm going through more so than a lot of other people could. And have to imagine that helps your business quite a bit.
Absolutely. And I don't have a 1-800 number, although Geiger does. When you get me directly. So the number you call reaches me straight to me. It may get voicemail every now and then,
That's
but
right.
I'll get back to you.
That's okay.
And then, there's no secrets about who's behind the website or the telephone. We're out there servicing, we're disrupting, and we're trendsetters. We are constantly bringing new technologies to the market, and we're founders. We're just movers and shakers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Geiger and you have refined your business and the way you do business, or little things, little tweaks here and there over your term or over Geiger's 200-year or 100-something year history. So it's a constant refinement, and you're innovating, and I think that's great. And I really, what I'm seeing, and I've pointed this out already, is just the caring mentality you have, but in a genuine way. Like we can use big words like that and say that we do care. Well, do you, or do you? You got to actually show it in your actions. You can't just say those words, because I think if you say, a lot of companies say those words, but they don't follow through on it. We see that a lot in corporate America, where they have these big phrases in their mission statement. It's like, well, no, you don't. You can't just say that. You do that. And that's what kind of brought you to us. That's why Evan said, you guys are going to get along great. You need to chat. And here we are. So I see that. So I appreciate you sharing that, your story about your family, being an immigrant, and just working your tail off and making things happen, and having this creative mind that, that it's important to have around us. And we'd like to surround ourselves with good people. And obviously you're a good person to put in that mix. So we appreciate that. And now we want to move into a little bit more of a rapid fire round. We're going to ask you some questions and go a little bit quicker this time. So you ready for that?
Absolutely. Bring it on.
All right, let's do it. All right, so Nikki, obviously you create a lot of incredible promotional items. What is your one favorite promotional item that you have seen?
Well, we have great trade shows out there, and I'm constantly looking for new products, but I do post on social media a product of the week. So my product of the week that I posted today, especially for this podcast, is the Smart Key Pro. It is a key holder organizer. It's a tracker, so if you lose your keys, which is common especially as we get older, and it is smart, so you could bring it right up on a smart app, because we're always on our phone, and it will not clutter your pocket or your purse and make all this clanky noise, and it's very compact, so it's just a multifunctional tool, and that is what I'm constantly looking in a product of the week, something that just stands out.
I like that, because a lot of the promotional items you'll see, especially if I'm traveling at a trade show, I got to fit it somewhere now, or what am I going to do with it? And I'm busy and I go back to my office, but now you're giving me something that isn't taking up space. It's something I can use, and not to say the other ones aren't good, but this is really cool because you're now using technology, using your smartphone. So I think that's great. So you're traveling a lot because you're going to these trade shows, I'm assuming, or you've traveled in the past. What is your favorite city to travel to?
Well, my favorite city is Seattle. It's just beautiful. I'm a West Coaster myself. I was raised in Southern California, but I do love the West Coast weather. However, it rains a little too much for me in Seattle. It would make it perfect if it didn't rain so much. But I'm a transplant here to Atlanta, and so I've traveled and tasted the world, but Seattle is one of my favorite cities.
And it's a common answer, because I've heard, we hear Seattle all the time, but Atlanta to Seattle is a long flight, so you have some killing of time to do. Whether you're on that flight or just in general, what is your favorite thing to do to kill time?
Well, it's a family joke here that I'm obsessed with playing cards. I do have an app on my phone where I play spades, and it's online, and it's stimulating because I love board games, and our family plays a lot of board games. It gives you a sense of community, and it helps pass the time. So I do a lot of things, but on my phone, I play cards.
I love it. I love spades. I haven't played spades in a while, but that was a big game when we were in college, so that's a good one for sure. So if I were to take you away from your promotional advertising business, what career would you be in?
Oh my goodness, I have just been waiting for my calling, I guess. I would be involved with a nonprofit full-time or in full-time missionary work. I have traveled on various mission trips. You know, my first language is Spanish, so I have traveled to a lot of Latin American countries, and I love being a voice to the voiceless. It's fulfilling. It really helps you put things into perspective and come back and see how truly blessed I am. So if I had a choice, money, no object, I'd be out there serving in some capacity.
I would imagine so. Based on everything else you said, it just makes perfect sense. So now you are in promotional advertising. So real quick, we've talked about your business before, but for the small business owners or decision makers that are listening to this, give a quick plug for your business.
Well, it's this simple. I'm an extension of your marketing department, and I put your brand in others' hands.
I love it. So you use social media. You talk about how you get social media. You get business through social media. For business, what is your favorite social media app today?
Instagram. There's no secret. I just love it because, again, it's another creative outlet for me. I can create what I want to post out there. It's not extremely political. It's not biased. It's just show what you do and express yourself.
I think that's great because when we talk about creating things, I think creativity breeds more creativity. I don't know if you agree with that, but if you draw a picture or if you get on Instagram and just mess with the filters and put something creative out there, it just makes you more creative in the next task that you're going to do. And I think that's never a bad thing if we're in creative mode. In which you are always in creative mode. I'm assuming you also read as well. If you were to read, would you be reading on a book like hardcover, paperback, or would you choose a Kindle or a Kindle app?
Well, I'm a hybrid, truly. I love my Kindle. I do Amazon Kindle with my books. They go with me either on my phone or on my tablet. But, you know, the good book, the Bible, I like it in a tangible printed format because I like to write notes, highlight, and you just can't replace that. So that's why I consider myself a hybrid.
Okay, so if now you were going to either read a blog post or listen to a podcast, what would you choose?
Well, podcast is my favorite. It's my new audiobooks. It helps me get through traffic. It helps me hone my craft. It helps me listen to other perspectives. It brings balance. You know, it takes away the stress. It's just a great technology that I invest in.
Yeah, well, I can't argue with that. So when you say podcast, how long have you been listening to podcasts or, you know, Audible or books on tape?
I think since the coming of time, you know, as soon as they became available. I come from the technology industry, you know, on the computer and software side. So I'm always looking at all the new tools and listening to podcasts. Has been around for a long time, whether it was a sermon from church or a good, you know, speaker or whatever it is, I can find it, you know, and I'm subscribed to a lot of podcasts.
That's excellent. Hopefully you subscribe to this podcast now and you use the word perspectives, which we love because we love to have entrepreneurs out here to give different perspectives, kind of like we're doing right now. So just two more quick ones. In your watching time, would you choose to watch Netflix or would you watch cable or satellite?
Well, I'm all Netflix and Hulu. I divorced the cable guy about 4 years ago, so I'm constantly streaming when I'm not creating.
Isn't it amazing now? There's so many shows. I talk to people and they're like, have you seen this show? Have you seen that show? I'm like, I haven't, because there's just so many. And then you would tell them a list of shows they haven't heard of. It's just amazing how much content is out there, whether it's on the podcast world or a book or a blog or a TV show or a movie or a documentary, right?
Right.
So we love sports here, and I'm not sure if you do, and you don't have to, but we do ask this question because this is the important stuff for us. But if you could only root for one sports team, which team would that be?
Well, go Tigers, War Eagle here.
Wow.
There's no secret. From the minute you enter my door, I have a wreath on my door that says, "As for this house, we scream War Eagle." So I'm a big Auburn Tiger fan. And when I moved to the Southeast, they basically ask you out here in the South where you go to church and who's your football team.
That's it.
So
I love it. So I did not know this. I did not know that you were a big college football or college sports fan and the Auburn Tigers fan. So I'm an Ohio State fan. So you're in SEC country. I come down to the South, which is Charlotte's more ACC, but there's a lot of SEC as well. And so there's definitely a lot of rivals here. And Auburn had a great team that had a great run this year. And we're very close, right? I mean, you were there.
We're very close, and I'm not a fair weather fan, so I'll be right there with them through the whole thing. But I'm a middle child of two brothers, and it was always some kind of sport in my house. My dad was an avid baseball fan. You know, Cuba brings out some really good baseball players.
Oh, yeah.
So he lived and breathed baseball from the time he was a kid playing with the stick and a rock back in his country. He just loved the game. And my oldest son was drafted out of high school for the Chicago White Sox. So we rode that train for a minute, and it was fun to watch him do what he loved. And now I'm a team mom for a rising basketball player.
There you go.
So all our kids,
Sports is big.
6 kids. Yeah, 6 kids, and 5 of the 6 have played a sport. So we love sports in this house.
Wow. So you have 6 kids, and sports is nonstop, and your oldest one was drafted by the Chicago White Sox and team mom. It's amazing. But if I say this one word, I just want to know what your reaction is, because we love rivalries, and you know where I'm going right now. But if I say the word, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the name, what comes to your mind?
Bring it.
Yeah. So you get them once time.
We're going to be. Yeah, we all have rivals in whatever industry or sport, but that's okay. It just makes us better at our game.
Well, in Atlanta too. I mean, that's like become. And I'm not an Alabama fan by any stretch, but they seem to play there every single year in the SEC championship, unless you guys can take them out. So it's really up to Auburn to get rid of Alabama. So it's on you.
Yes, it's a big role, but we're up to the challenge,
Yes,
and I'm looking forward to a new season. But since we're talking about sports, and you mentioned that Ohio State is one of your favorites, I do have to mention that my father-in-law and my husband's uncle both played at Ohio State, baseball and football. So, go Buckeyes.
There you go. Around what year would that have been?
He played for Woody Hayes.
Oh, wow.
So,
amazing. Well, we're going to have a lot
of...
My parents were there during that time in the late 60s, and so a lot of great stories. We'll have to talk offline more about Ohio State. We can have a follow-up podcast, and all we do is just talk college football. How about that?
Well, all right. Bring it.
Let's do it. Well, Nikki, I really do appreciate it. And you mentioned another word that I was thinking about, and you said being humble, whether you win or not, and your caring ways and the way you go about your business. I would recommend anybody who is looking for support in promotional advertising to reach out to you, to at least have a conversation with you and take it from there. We appreciate you spending time with us. I appreciate sharing your story, your personal story, your business story. We wish you continued success in your business. We'll obviously be talking, whether we talk promotional advertising or we're talking Auburn or Ohio State football, it all works. So again, thank you for your time and best of luck in your business.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor, and if I can be of any service, you know how to reach me.
Nikki, it was absolutely awesome having you on this podcast. From her caring ways to helping brands become known, Nikki is an entrepreneur your business should connect with. The perspectives from Nikki on leaving a mark wherever you go and being grateful for the opportunities that are in front of all of us are now perspectives you as a business owner and entrepreneur can use for yourself. And for that, Nikki, thank you. And for anyone looking to discuss promotional advertising for your business, feel free to contact Nikki. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. You can contact me on Twitter at Eric_Kaz, or with the same name on Instagram, or you can find us at KazSource.com with links to us on the different social networks. Thank you for listening to our KazSource podcast, Entrepreneur Perspectives, building and protecting your business one podcast at a time. Until next time, we're out of here. This podcast exists in large part because of CASCM, the content marketing business inside CASSource Inc. CASCM is excited to bring the content marketing services used at CASSource to you. Learn more by visiting cascm.com. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It's a big deal to us. We hope you found value in it, and if you did, we would be incredibly grateful if you gave us a review on iTunes. Remember to subscribe to this podcast and feel free to share it with anyone you know. More than anything, thank you again for listening. We appreciate it.